The DC Sniper. John Muhammad and Lee Marlboro had the world on a man chase. Had people afraid to go outside. People afraid to go to their homes and their jobs. But he was a father, a veteran, a married man, a man that was a hard worker and served his country. But something happened. Something happened inside of his mind to make him turn against his family, turn against life, turn against society. They both were put in jail and he was executed. But someone is still suffering. Someone was in the shadows. Someone suffered pain, suffered torment. But now, Mildred Muhammad sits down with me to tell her side of the story. How faith, God, and love saved her life from being taken by the hands of an insane person.
What up, what up? It's your main man, actor, producer, Troy D. Williams.
Hey, it's Cherry Johnson.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Scott White.
We are the Herd.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Natasha.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is B Slade.
And you are now tuned in to Unmuted.
You are watching Unmuted.
To Unmuted.
To Unmuted.
And you're watching Unmuted.
You're watching Unmuted. Keep it locked.
Unmute yourself and speak your truth.
Hello, everybody. What's up? This is your boy, Scott Simpkins, a.k.a. Simp7. This is another episode of Unmuted, and this is by far one of the best interviews that I have here. You know, you guys know I've been up here for quite some time, and just maybe like 3 years, maybe now. But this right here is an interview that I've been wanting to do since I was a kid, and now that it's time, you guys already know. There was a time when we was in high school, a time that you was at work, a time that you was at home sweeping, cooking or something. Then you turn on the news and you heard about the DC Sniper. And you heard about the activities of the DC Sniper. Some of us was afraid to go outside after learning what the DC Sniper was doing. Some of us was afraid to go to work and school. But it happened. We're here now, but I'm so happy to have the widow, the wife of the DC Sniper.
The ex-wife.
The ex-wife. Okay, the ex-wife.
You.
Okay, we're gonna add the the ex-wife. Big old ex.
He called all of that. I need you to understand we were divorced for 2 years before he came looking for me.
Really?
Okay. Yes, I was in hiding. So we're gonna get into all of that, but ex-husband is October 6th, 2000. Shooting started in 2002.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I got
The
time.
ex-wife.
I remember all of them. Yes, please.
Oh, you remember all of y'all. This is gonna be good. Yes, I have Miss Mildred Muhammad right here in our presence, y'all. So y'all give it up, Miss Mildred Muhammad. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm ready for this. I'm excited. I'm excited. But first of all, I want to say congratulations. I learned that you got a degree, an honorary, what was it, doctorate?
Doctorate of Humanities, yes.
Awesome.
For my work in advocacy, empowerment, and domestic violence awareness.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you know that you was getting that? Is it just something that happened out of the blue? And
I did not know that I was getting it. It was a nomination by someone else, and I received an email saying I was nominated, and I was just floored.
Really?
I wasn't expecting it. I was totally surprised. Totally.
Okay.
So I'm just grateful that they thought enough of me to think of me to grace me with this honor.
Right. And it's well deserved. And I know why, what's going on, but everybody else don't know why, but we'll get into that.
Okay.
Because I know you do a lot of work, and it's I would say it takes a lot of courage to do what you do. Because most people in the situation that you've been in don't do that or won't do that.
Right.
out of fear, out of, the controversy, what people may say, but we're going to get into that. But I want to start off with you.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about your upbringing.
I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, so Southern girl.
Southern girl, okay.
Moved up here in 2001. Well, yeah, been here since then. I became an advocate. I was an administrative assistant. Now I'm an advocate, a global advocate for victims and survivors of domestic abuse and violence, because there is a difference, although we put it under one umbrella. And so through all of that, I raised 3 children. My son, who's 35, his name is John. My oldest daughter, Selena, she's 33.
Oh, you had to think about it.
And my baby girl, Taliba, she's 31.
Okay.
And so they're all adults. We've been through a lot, but we came through it by God's grace in sound by mind and body.
Awesome. And that is so wonderful, raising 3 children, and almost forgot the age. That mean they did a little something. They put some grades on your head a little bit,
But we went through a lot. So,
yes, ma'am.
Even they did. And I'm just grateful to have gotten them back and was given the blessing to raise them.
Awesome.
We'll get into that, I'm sure.
Yes, we will, most definitely.
Okay.
But the first question I have for you is that you said that, it's 2 separate things with the abuse and the domestic, and all. What is the difference? Because a lot of people don't know that.
Right. So 80% of victims do not have physical scars to prove they've been victimized. Doesn't matter the gender. There's domestic abuse, there's domestic violence. Domestic abuse is verbal, psychological, stalking, economic abuse, spiritual abuse, physical assault every 9 to 15 seconds. That's when the physical starts, with the spitting, the hitting, the slashing, the mutilation, and ultimately death. Mm-hmm. And the reason why those 2 are separated is because we are visual people. If I don't see your scars don't exist. So that's why you see the posters with the busted lip and the black eyes, to get your attention, to understand that this is a global epidemic and it needs to be addressed on a daily basis, not just when a situation comes up and, oh my God, it's domestic abuse and violence. Some believe the victim, some believe the abuser. And so we just have to get to a place where we stop asking the victim, why do you stay? And start asking the abuser, why do you abuse? We have to get there. We're not there yet, because the first thing you hear is, well, why did you stay?
Right.
Like, I did not have an obstacle in the way that was preventing me from leaving. So a better question would be, what prevented you from leaving that situation? See, I can answer that. Right. And when I speak with victims and survivors and the public in general through my public speaking, I say that when you ask a victim that, what you're doing, you're putting the total responsibility of the abusive relationship on the victim, as if that person leaves, then the abuse will stop. But up to 75% who try to leave are either hurt or killed. I fell in that statistic, the 75%. I left and he came after me. 2 years later, I was gone. So he came. What do I do now? You say remove yourself from the situation. I removed myself from the situation, but yet he still came, looked for me. So what am I supposed to do then?
Wow. Okay. The common question of why did you stay? Because people on the outside can't believe that if somebody's beating the living daylights out of you, that you're just going to sit there and stay. Me, I've heard women tell me, he loves me, so that's why I stayed. And the crazies look like, you crazy? And we sometimes think that, hey, look, maybe he beat that into you for thinking that. But you're absolutely right. We have to ask the abuser, why do you hit women? Why do you hit men? Because it happens on both sides, though.
It does. That's why I didn't give a gender.
Right.
So you have to look at what was the person who's been victimized? What was their upbringing? Were they raised in a toxic household? Did they see their mother hit their father or the father hit the mother? Is that their interpretation of what love is? Because that's all they've seen in a relationship. So fathers teach their daughters what to accept from a man by the way he treats her mother.
Absolutely.
Sons expect out of a woman the other way around. Okay. So what are we teaching our children? Are we teaching them love? Are we teaching them that toxic relationships are how you determine if you love me? Am I supposed to put you through that much hardship before you fall in love with me? It was a song back in the days called Every Little Bit Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you ever heard that song. I'm
I
going
didn't.
way back now, so look it up.
I'm just a baby.
Look up that song, Every Little Bit Hurts.
Mhm.
And that song is saying the little things that you think are okay are the ones that's pulling me away from you. So every little bit, every time you give your word and you don't keep it, that hurts. That pulls me back, right? It's the little things, every little bit. So when you get it to escalate to the bigger things, then all you're teaching me is how to live without you. I'm not going to call him or her for 2 or 3 days. You're teaching me how to live without you. You think that's isolation. You're teaching me I don't have to talk to you every day. I don't have to love you. I can still go on with my life. And you haven't called me in 3 days. And you expect me to sit around and wait for you to call?
Ouch.
You're teaching me how to live without you. Lack of affection. I wasn't getting that before I met you. Oh, you're teaching me to go back to when I didn't have anybody, man or woman. So
Ooh.
why am I here?
Ooh.
I can just be by myself and get this type of treatment, right? You say you're coming and you don't call. Well, you're teaching me that if you don't call and you say you're coming, I can go ahead and do what I need to do because you're not reliable. We don't think about those things, right? Because you say, well, it's all in a relationship. No, that comes down to character. Are you a man or woman of your word, of integrity? That also applies to a romantic relationship. It's just not business, it's a relationship. So, can you keep your word in the smallest way? That tells me if you'll keep your word in the largest way. Why are you laughing? What's going on?
Right. I'm eating it up because I am guilty. I am guilty. Judge, I am guilty. Okay. Oh my God. I didn't expect you to be saying all this. I'm just getting beat up.
I don't know that. I don't know that. I mean,
no, but
it's
everything that you said.
but that's on. It's just not what the woman expects from a man. It's what a man expects from a woman too. You know. So if I'm not a woman of my word, why should I expect you to believe what I say?
Absolutely.
Same way.
Absolutely. I've been on both sides.
Okay.
And it doesn't feel good on both sides.
It does not.
And
but it teaches men something differently.
Right. It really does.
It teaches us we can live without you.
Right. And with some men that's been hurt in that way, it keeps us in the shell. One thing you show us, because they always say that men is hard to open up. Men is hard to do this, that, and the other. And then when we finally open up to somebody and we don't receive what we put out,
right,
it puts us back in the shell with communication, doing certain things. You're not reciprocating what I'm doing and all. And it's like, why even try? So yeah, absolutely.
But you have a level of expectation when you open yourself up to that person. And when you don't get that, what you're looking for, you shut down. right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
before you open up, speak about the expectation. What is it I'm expecting when I open up to receive empathy, compassion, and not for what I'm saying to you be used against me later.
Right.
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 Let's not leave that part out.
Mhm.
Right? Because it gets there.
It does.
So, what is the expectation that you want in that relationship? And what are you expecting from your partner? And if that is, and some people will be real and say, you know what, I don't have the emotional capacity for that.
And listen, and that's okay.
And that is okay. Because at least I'm honest and I'm not, and you cannot open up to me because I am not in receive, will not receive it.
That's fine. Just go
But
ahead
you have to voice what you expect.
Exactly.
You can't just assume that, oh, you know, I've been with him or her for like 3-6 months. They kind of know me now. So I'm just going to open up this part. And then you open up without giving me a prerequisite of what it is. Then I'm like, why he telling me all of this? He think we that serious or something? I mean, he got to tell me all that.
Right. Right.
What you want me to do with that? That's the first thing.
Absolutely.
What you want me to do with? Because you didn't tell me.
Wow, because the first
Whole
thing,
nother level of communication
whole other level, because
that
we're
we
not mind readers.
don't talk about. We just feel like the other person is ready to hear what I have to say. You don't know that.
Right. Absolutely. We're not mind readers. We don't know.
You're not. I need to know what it is you expect from me. What do you want? What do you, and you know, some people say, well, if you give them a blueprint, then they will behave that way. And that's true.
Mhm.
You give people, okay, so I'm looking for A, B, C, and D. They know they don't have the capacity for A, B, C, and D, but they're going to fake it because they want you instead of being honest and saying, I don't have that. But they don't want you to move on to somebody else, even though they know they can't do that. So what do? You fake it, you fake it, you fake it as much as you can, and then the mask falls off.
America.
And now he or she is saying, well, you said you could do that, and now you're not. Now we're arguing over what you promised me in the beginning, and yet you knew in the beginning you are not that. So why do you say that which you do not?
I call that selling me a dream and waking up to a nightmare.
Yeah, that's a bait and switch.
America, this is Mildred D. Muhammad. She just gave you relationship start off 101. That was wow, that was good right there. Let's go ahead and dig down into this. So
okay,
in 1988, you met or you got married to Mr. John Muhammad. Now
Williams. He was Williams at the time.
He was Williams at the time.
He was.
Oh, wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Mr. John Williams. Okay, so that means before. Okay, he became a Muslim after. Mm-hmm. All right.
And so we received. Mm-hmm.
In the dating process of you two, how was your relationship and did you see any signs?
They never show signs in the front. Like I just said earlier, you doing something you know you're not. But you don't know that because you're in love with the person. You give them chance after chance and you're going to get it right. So we get married in 88 and 1990 is when Desert Storm happened, right? We had our first child, John Jr., January 17th, 1990. Then a year later, he went, well, the day of his 1-year birthday is the day that they bombed Saudi. That's how I know that date accurately. It was on my son's birthday. So he was there for 3 months. He had a shoulder injury, came back to the States, was not the same. Came back to Germany because we were in Germany. Was not the same person. He wasn't jovial. He wasn't happy. He was the life of the party. He was the man, the go-to man for parties. He was all of that. He came back. But the person I married is still in Saudi because the one that came back, it's not him. And you hear that a lot with soldiers, families, and they go over there one way, they come back their different way. He was not debriefed. He was diagnosed with PTSD. PTSD back then, they did not have resources available like they do now. And if you had a mental issue on your record, you could not be promoted. So many soldiers that came back from Desert Storm did not report or check in that they were having issues with PTSD. Number one, it was a brand new name and nobody really knew what that was about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the
Now,
only time
now everybody know what it's about.
right, and a lot of people are claiming PTSD and don't have PTSD and just
don't
saying
have
something.
it. No, they don't.
Because the first time I heard of PTSD is when former football legend Junior Seau took his life at his home in California, and they did a scan, and it came up that he was battling PTSD, and a lot of NFL players battle that after their careers are over from all the hard hits and all that good jazz and everything.
That's CTE.
CTE.
Yes.
Well, well that's PTSD.
PTSD
that's
is
PTSD cousin.
Traumatic stress disorder. That was a good one, though. I give you that. That was pretty good. That lets you know I know a little bit about football.
You know a little bit about it. That's good for editing. But anyway, but when you guys met, before you got married, when y'all met, what was the relationship like?
It was cool. It was, we was just getting to know each other. He was in the National Guard. He wanted to go into regular service. Unfortunately, he didn't know how to read. So I took courses in phonics to teach him how to read so that he could take the test and passed it to go into the Army.
Wow. So Mr. John didn't know how to read.
Mm-hmm. Although he graduated high school. So after that, then went into the military. Wow. And that's how we got to Fort Lewis. And then he sent for me. And then from there, we got married and 3 children.
So, time out. Let's applaud you right quick for teaching a Black man to read. No, because I'm a former teacher. I just recently in December ended my term after 6 wonderful years of doing it. Just couldn't take it because of the school system. And a lot of our kids do not know how to read and comprehend.
Right. They don't.
The system that we're in are only concerned about money and numbers. Mm-hmm. So the proper teaching is not there. And they really got on my nerves, but I do have a mentoring program that help kids read, learn, comprehend, count and all like that. But, just to see that really breaks my heart, and to know that Mr. John couldn't read, but you stepped up and helped this man read and get into the, wow. That's
into the military. He became a sergeant through all of that. And so when we had our children, we didn't put them in kindergarten. I did homeschooling, hooked on phonics. That's what we did. Wow. Until they really go to the 1st grade. So they was ahead of everybody.
That's great. That's great. Because I remember those commercials for hooked on phonics. My mama didn't hook me on no phonics. She gave me some eggs and grits and sit behind the Rochelle Elementary for kindergarten. That's what my mama did.
But we were military, so we were going from place to place. So,
right.
Having to teach them at home, that was fine. Awesome. I love my children. I enjoyed being pregnant, for real. I enjoyed being a mother. I really did. I didn't complain about nothing. I don't care what they say. I was not that mother that complained. I wasn't.
Okay. That's wonderful, because a lot of people don't.
I
hear a lot. But let's go here, right? So before he left to go to Desert Storm, he was normal. He was the life of the party. He was a look guy, like to have fun,
right.
Joke. Were you concerned at all for him going to Desert Storm?
No, that was his job. He was in the military. That's his job.
Right. And I'm asking that because some men don't come back the same. We know that they might, lose their life going over there.
But so before he left for Desert Storm, he sat down with me and he said, look, this is what it's going to be. I'm an 84th combat engineer. I have 5 seconds on the battlefield. If I don't come back, this is what I need you to do. In terms of the insurance money, who gets what, because he had 2 other sons.
Yes, ma'am.
And all I did was listen. I didn't talk back. I didn't say, you come. I was listening to what he wanted me to do.
Right.
So when he came back, they don't tell you that when a soldier comes back from a war that they're going to be different. They don't tell you that. You find that out on your own. So once he came back and he's sitting in the corner rocking back and forth.
Wow.
Hmm.
Did he
Honey,
verbalize?
you okay? I say, honey, you okay? I'm good. Now, when a man says, I'm good, you know how many emotions are wrapped up in I'm good.
Yes, ma'am.
Just trying to figure out if it's okay for him to say what he need to say without feeling judged or rejected. I knew that. And so I didn't push. But he always played with our son. So when I saw him interacting with him, our son was his safe place.
Right.
So he would laugh and talk and everything with him. So one day we was going to the park and I wanted to get on this rowboat. And I said that, and the look he gave me and the sternness and harshness in his voice, it just hit me so hard. I didn't say anything else the rest of the day. I went home. I locked myself in the bathroom. I didn't come out. I cried all day. Just took a shower, stayed in the bathroom. My son was knocking on the door, trying to peep under the bottom. Are you okay? And he's good. Couldn't do it.
Wow.
So that was the first thing I can remember where I didn't know it was abusive. I just knew it hurt. He crossed a line into pain that I had not ever experienced with him.
Wow. So dealing with that and seeing him rocking back and forth, seeing the sternness, seeing the way that he talks, did you think in your mind like, okay, I know who went over there, but this is the result of Desert Storm?
Yeah. I even tried to get him help, but he said, I went to the chaplain trying to get help for him, and the chaplain said, well, many soldiers come back that way. You just have to be patient with him. That's all I got. There was no services for PTSD. There was nothing. So it's basically you're going through this as the spouse, whether it's the man or the woman, just the spouse, and you're seeing your partner like this, and you're just trying to figure out, what can I do to help? Because I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
But it was consistently getting worse. I had a favorite jacket. It was orange and blue. I remember that jacket. I love that jacket.
Yes, ma'am.
And I expressed how much I liked it, right? And so I went to work. I came back. I couldn't find it. I said, you see my jacket? He said, no, I ain't seen it. He cut that jacket up, stripped it, and knifed.
Wow.
Okay. He threw away all the dishes except for one dish, one saucer, 2 dishes, 2 saucers, 2 bowls, 2 spoons, 2 knives, 2 butter knives. I said, why'd you do all this? We won't need no more than that.
Wow.
See, it's the little things, but I'm paying attention.
Right.
But I'm in Germany. There's somebody to talk to in Germany. So he goes to Desert Storms, he comes back, then we get orders to come to Fort Ord, California. Had Selena in Germany. So came back with 2 children to Fort Ord. And thought everything was good, but it wasn't. He's still showing signs. And then he got charged with threatening an officer. Had to go to court. I'm pregnant with Taliba, my baby girl. And they had the shackles in the courtroom to take him from there to Fort Leavenworth, to prison. And the all-officer jury found him not guilty.
Wow. That's different.
That is.
That's different.
That's
A
different.
black man in shackles for abusing
Uh,
another officer.
Threatening officer.
Okay.
Because the
Wow.
report was that he told the officer that if you ever hurt me or cross me, I will kill you and the whole lineage of your family. There will be there will be no one left in that bloodline that's connected to you.
Okay, that is different.
Yes.
That is a different level of threatening right there. Wow.
Yes, it is, but they couldn't prove it because even the officer didn't say that he said it. So I don't know if it was the threat that kept him from reporting it, or from saying or if he was really afraid.
Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
So I got to ask you this, because you said that you enjoyed being a mother, you enjoyed being pregnant and all, and you had another child after he
Three.
got back. So that
Mhm.
means that he had to be going in and out of this character,
Right. Well, I knew he would. I just didn't think he would hurt me. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Because he's in the military. He got all this military training, 84 combat engineer, expert shot, hand-to-hand combat expert, can make a weapon out of anything like MacGyver. That was him.
Oh, I
I
want to
just,
go. I want to go to a little left right quick, America, and those that are watching, and we'll be tuning in later. I want y'all to understand this. Getting some would tame the savage beast. If you,
I'm just saying
I'm just
that
saying.
just because, okay, again, it goes to the upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
So I was raised in the church. So there's a certain level of forgiveness and
Right.
patience and
Right.
all these other things that go with that. And so when you're married and you clean together, you work it out, you do all these things.
Right.
He never threatened me.
Mm-hmm.
He was a father. He showed up. He paid the bills. Even though he had this little piece right here going on, he still showed up.
He still showed up. Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you he still showed up. I loved him. I wanted to work it out with him. I wanted to keep our family together because he said in the beginning, it doesn't matter how long we together, we're going to keep our family because neither one of us was raised with two parents. We want to give our children something we never had.
Right.
That was the vision.
Right.
And that's what he kept on that side of the fence. But on this side of the fence where I'm at, it was breadcrumbing. I didn't really understand those terms until later. When you're in a relationship, you don't see all of that. Somebody on the outside got to come in and say, you know what? Are you sure that's what that is?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because some women say, well, I know he did all that, but I still love him. And so my question is, what do you love? Do you love that he does this? Do you love that he does that? And so when you break it down like that, then it's, well, maybe I don't love him. I thought that was love, but it's not. So you have to ask the right questions in order to wake you up out of that scenario to understand exactly what's happening to you in that type of relationship.
Wow. So he was never abusive to you. He never
No,
hurt you.
not
When,
physically.
not physically. So
Not
when
physically.
was the day? When was the day? What happened when he finally abused you and you said, "Hey, look, that is it."
This is when he was out of the military. We had our own business. We had a mobile auto repair service. The name of the business was Express Car Truck Mechanic. It was the first type of business at that time where we come out to you, repair your car,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't have to take it to a shop, go get a rental car. We do everything right there on the spot.
Wow.
Right. So I found out he was having affairs with the customers because a customer called and said, your mechanic, John, is blackmailing me by having me to pay for my car services with sex. Okay. So I sent out the manager to talk to her, and she said if it didn't stop, then she would press charges and sue our company. And so it was at that point that I said, okay, I'm done. I'm out. This is not what we signed up for, because this was a business that we started because when he got out of the military, we started a mobile repair service. I was the administrator. He was the mechanic because he could fix cars. I mean, he was great at it. I was great at paperwork. So let's just put this together and see what we come up with. And that's what we did.
Oh my God. So you
I saw this as a franchise, one in every state. He saw it as a mom and pop. So every advancement I went and received, he sabotaged it. Got a brand new truck, he wrecked it. Got a contract with the police department in Tacoma, Washington, to service all of their vehicles. I wrote the grant for it, got it. Anybody who needed people who was on welfare and needed a vehicle, if they had a car, they brought it to us. They gave us a voucher to fix the car, done. Sabotaged it. We had to go to this meeting where we had 50, the networking, where you give 15 seconds to say what your business is.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So he said, I want to go. I said, okay, let's go. So came with me. He saw that. He said, I'm not repairing cars anymore. I want to be on the business side. I can't fix the cars.
Right.
What are we doing?
Wow.
The first year we made $50,000. The second where we made $100,000. We were just going up and up and up.
Yes, ma'am.
But he sabotaged it. Every advance, I'm like, geez.
Let me put a little insert in here because hearing you say that a woman and a man that's married building something together, you saw a vision. Fellas, it's okay that your wife sees something greater than you do. Give it a shot. It's not making you less of a man to do that. I mean, and I believe, before you even tell me, I just want to say this because I know some men deal with this. Jealousy. You're not going to be better than me. So I'm going to sabotage what you think or what you say and not look at your vision because I'm the man. I'm the head honcho. So I'm going to shoot it down and I'm going to mess it up. Did you think that's what he was doing because he was jealous of you?
Not until now.
Wow.
Not until now. Not until now. It just came on. Not until now. I mean, I got the grants, I got the business. I went out, I hustled for that business. I'm telling you, I hustled.
Yes, ma'am.
I had it all planned out. I got the uniform, got the special car truck mechanic. So you got to wear a hat. We got the gloves from the gloves that they use at the hospital. I need you to wear these gloves so that when you fixing the car, then the next place you go to, you got clean hands. You don't have dirty hands when you go to the next customer. That ain't cool, right?
Right.
So then he was still having trouble reading. So I created a document where all he needed to do was check the services he wanted to do, give the document to the customer so they can fill out their name and stuff, right? Yes. We were the first ones to have a portable credit card machine. So he took the credit card machine out, swiped that thing. I'm telling you, we was on it, doggone it. And he sabotaged, though.
Wow.
Wrecked the brand new truck, wrecked it.
Wow. Yeah, I just
put that to.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm sorry.
I saw one in every state. I'm telling you, they didn't have nothing like. I researched that, and we didn't have the social media, the conduct. Right. Oh, we didn't even have Google. Tell you how far back that goes. We didn't even have that. So doing the research, going to the library, painstaking research. You know what? We can have one in every state. I don't want all of that. I just want a mom and pop. I just want a cesarean. Why would you want to do that? I mean, we could be nationwide.
Right.
Wow. I thought this was the purpose, to leave a legacy for our children. They can walk. They was working in the business. I was teaching them checks, how to do this, how to order the parts, have them ready for all of the mechanics. They come in, pick up their work orders with the parts, head out, come back, done. We were done at 3:00 every day.
Wow. Well, wow. Sometimes a vision.
Didn't even know. I didn't even think jealousy. I don't know why I didn't think that. I didn't think jealousy. I don't know what I thought, but
Wow.
that
Well,
makes sense.
it happens. It happens a lot. It happens a
makes
lot. Some men
sense.
can't handle a woman having the mind, having the brain, having smarts. You know, and I say this even back in the Bible days. I mean, hey, you guys are right on the same level with us until Eve did what she did with that snake or whatever like that. And I'm like, hey, women know how to handle finances better than men do. I'm just saying. I'm going to put that out there, and I mean what I say by that. Women, y'all can have $20, and y'all can buy clothes for your kids, a dinner, have groceries in the house, and still got $5 left over after you bought your lashes and a wig and got $5 left over for the whole
That is
weekend
true.
until you get paid again. Us, we're gonna get a bill and a scratch off and need another 20. That just life. It's something about y'all. God made y'all different, and that's just how it is. But okay, let's further along though, because there's some interesting details that I need to know about this. Because after you guys divorced, after you said that was it, and that was in 2000, and 2002, you had no clue.
Well, hold on. Let's go back.
Okay.
In 2000, I asked him for a divorce. He said, why? I said, you acting free? You may as well be free. You don't have to tell me where you're going. You don't have to tell me where you at. You don't have to tell me anything. You are free to be free. You're just free. Well, I don't want a divorce. Well, I do. He said, well, I don't understand. I said, you know, Black people have been in slavery for 400 years in this country. Here I am trying to give you your freedom and you don't want it. I don't understand.
Wow, that's a deep way of putting it. Okay. Ladies, if you want a divorce, just use that line. That makes sense. Wow.
Well, if I can't have you, can't nobody have you. Say, well, you know, I'm trying to give you your freedom. So he moved out, but he still had a key. He would come in the middle of the night. I would hear the key going in the door. I would lay in the bed with my eyes open to a slither. He would walk in the room. I would watch him walk in the room, walk from one end of the bed to the other, lean over to listen to me breathe, stand up and leave. He did that 3 times. Third time, my baby girl woke up and she said, Daddy. He picked her up and said, here's Taliba, like he's supposed to be there. So I called the locksmith. And I told my children, and when you're telling your children about what's happening, you use age-appropriate language. At the time, they were 6, 7, and 9. I said, Mommy's going to get the locks changed because something's wrong with the door. They said, okay. So he comes over to visit. And who does he go to? Our son. So, big man, what's going on? Daddy, Mommy's going to get the locks changed.
Wow.
He said, you getting the locks changed? I said, yeah, something's wrong with the door. He said, well, something is wrong with the door. I said, really? He said, yeah, come on, let me show you. So he takes his key, try to put in the lock, and it doesn't go in. He takes my key, try to put it in there, and it doesn't go in. He said, see, the lock's not working. I'm going to take it off, and I'll be right back. When he took the lock off, he turned it, and a straight pin fell out. He sabotaged the lock. So I didn't say anything when I saw the pin on the ground. But when he left, he didn't come back. So I had to take a chair, prop it up against the door, sit in the house with a knife to make sure to secure me, my mom, and our children. Next day, the locksmith came. A couple of days later, the locksmith came and changed the locks on the door. So get that fixed, then you know there's something else wrong. My phone wasn't ringing. Pick up the receiver to make sure it's a dial tone. It was. As soon as I hang it up, it rang, and it was a friend of ours. And she said, hey, Mildred, just call and see how you and the children doing. I said, yeah, we good. I said, what number did you call? She said, oh, John changed your number.
What?
He changed your number. I said, well, can you give me my number? She said, no. I just called to see how you and the children doing. I'm scared of John. I'm not giving you this number. She hung up. So I called the phone company. At that time, you couldn't change your number without being charged $15. So I told her that I was receiving harassment calls, so I didn't have to pay that. changed my number. Soon as I hung up, the phone rang. It was John. He said, who told you to change your number?
Get out of here.
I said, I don't need your permission to change my number. He said, don't change it again. I hung up, I called the phone company, had my number changed again. He called right after. I tell you not to change this number. Don't you change this number again. Hung up, called the supervisor. I said, that's why it's important to know the law. I say, isn't it against the law for you to change the number of a resident without the person's name being on the bill? I say, Miss Muhammad, we're sorry that happened to you. Let's change this right now. As he's changing the number, he said, you know what? He's calling right now to get your new number. Come to find out, he befriended a woman who works at the phone company.
I was going to say, how is he calling you right after you changed the number?
Every time my number changed, she called him and gave him the new number.
My God, that man is good. He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He befriended everybody. So got that done. And then we had to go to court for a restraining order because he came over. He threatened me. My brother was there. And he said, you know, you have become my enemy. And as my enemy, I will kill you. So, you know, victims don't want to look afraid. So I say, well, I've been sleeping with the enemy all this time. What you gonna do? He charged at me. I ran to my brother. I told he left. Told my brother, I said, John's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. He said, girl, John ain't gonna kill you. He just playing. I never went to my brother again. I don't have time to tell you the danger that I'm in. You either gonna believe me or you're not. And if you're not, get out of the way so that I can find somebody who will. That's why it's important if a woman or a man, your friend, whomever, come up to you and say, look, man, I'm a victim of domestic violence and I need help. Men don't say that. Women do. You know what men do? They get quiet. That person that was all jovial all the time, he ain't saying nothing. He walking around with his head down. Man, what's going on? Oh, nothing. But you won't ask past that, right? You know your friend. You know he must be going through something, but you don't pry. And this is mental health month for men. Men cry differently. Yeah. Yes, they do cry in the rain because they don't want nobody to see the tears coming out. I want to go outside in the rain. You remember that song?
Yes.
It may sound crazy, but I want to go outside in the rain. It's a man singing that song.
Right.
Nobody knows he's crying, right? You got to keep probing for men when they're asking. And I have a son, and I'm honey, are you okay? You need to. I know something's up with you. You need to tell me. You got to keep asking your friends. If they're your friends, they should be able to open up to you. I was with one of we was at this barbecue. I'm sorry, cookout. I don't use barbecue no more. Cookout, and it was a gentleman there talking about how all his friends would always come over, but it was always this one that didn't want to come. And I asked him later. I said, "Have you ever asked him why?" He said, "Yeah, he's just my friend." That man's in trouble, and y'all don't see it. And I don't understand why y'all don't see it. Maybe you're too close to the fire, but I encourage you to call him. He called him. He was in a depression. He lost his job and didn't know how he was going to work things out. All of them came together, helped him out financially. But if he didn't pry, if he didn't ask, then he would have committed suicide or something, because that's where he was. Because a man that you don't have no money, that's like your life is tied to your money. And if that ain't right, then it's like, that's why that song, wait till I get my money right, right? Because
Listen, men, listen. This is I love what you're doing. You're touching on so many different things concerning men, and this situation is crazy because what we deal with in life, a lot of people don't care. As long as what you can bring to the table, what you can provide, this, that, and other. Man, listen, man. Wow.
You find somebody.
Yeah.
Even if it's a Psychology Today is a good website you can go to, right? And you can look for men psychologists, therapists, Had a friend of mine contact me from Louisiana. He said, Mildred, I'm about to go out. I said, nope, no, sir. Give me 5 minutes. All I need is 5. And I found him a therapist in New Orleans, 15-minute drive. He's great now. But he knew he could reach out to me.
Right.
He knew I would be able to help. He knew I wouldn't judge him, and he knew I wouldn't reject him. He knew I would listen and I would be there for him. And I was.
That is the thing. Sometimes people are not looking for a financial handout.
Nope.
They're not looking for other resources. Sometimes people just want somebody to listen, and understand them.
That's it.
God, understanding a man when he's expressing, okay, I'm going through this, I'm going through that, this is really affecting me, this, that, and other. Sometimes just getting it out.
That's it.
It's all that's needed. But sometimes we can't get that. We can't get that. No, but okay, I hear you, but what can you do for me?
But that's the expectation part where he told me, he said, Mildred, I am in this depression. I cannot get out. I said, what do you need me to do? So I don't have to go through, you don't have to tell me what you need me to do. I'm on it. 5 minutes. That's all I need. 5.
So let me ask you this. So if Mr. John would have expressed what he's dealing with in his mind, the things that he saw from Desert Storm, the things that he witnessed and what affected him, you think he would have been saved?
Yep. He didn't tell me.
He wouldn't tell you.
Wouldn't tell me.
Wow. So he wouldn't tell you.
And the person that I am now is the person I've always been. I listen. I don't judge. I don't do rejections. I honestly want to help you. I honestly want you to be a better person. So what do I need? When I get calls from other people, hey, I got this friend. I don't say, well, what's going on? I never say that. My first question is, what do you need me to do? We can talk about all the other stuff later. What you need me to do? Well, I need A, B, C, and D. Okay, I can do C and I can do D. We're going to work on A and B. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Okay, let's go. You can tell me about everything else while we getting all this other stuff straight. But right now, I need to put something in place to help you, because that's what you're calling me for. You ain't calling me to be somebody on my sofa. You calling me because I need help. Okay, what do you need me to do? That's my first question to a victim, to a family member, to a friend. What do you need me to do? If you asking me what you doing today, you know my answer is, what you need me to do? Because if you asking me, what am I doing? You want me to do something. So let's just cut through that stuff. What do you need me to do? They laugh. Well, I need you to do A, B, C, and D on it. Let's go. I'm solution-based. That has always been me. I'm solution-based. I'll listen. I just want you to listen. Okay. But while you're talking, stuff going on in my head. I got resources lining up. I got things. Okay, I can do this. I'm listening, but stuff is happening in my head. So when you're done, you say, okay, I'm done. Okay, so we can do A, B, C, D, E. Wow, you came up with that? Absolutely. Which one are we doing first? I'm solution-based.
Wow.
You can tell me everything else you want. I will listen. I promise I will. But in the meantime, after you talk to me, you just talking to me, or you want me to come up with something? I don't want to waste your time by you giving me all this information. You giving me information for what reason? Do you just want to vent, or you want a solution? Which one you want? Well, I just want to vent. Okay, then I'm gonna listen. All that stuff that was going in my head shuts down because I need to listen.
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. So from not talking, from not expressing, from not venting, not coming, sitting down to the table, Mr. John went on a killing spree. Now, I want to ask you this before we go into the killing spree. Did you meet, because he had a son?
No, he didn't. He's not his son.
Right, and Mr. He had a son already from you guys.
Yeah.
So he fathered another young man, Lee Oliver, but I mean, from the media it says, father to son, but looking at the pictures it kind of seemed like that. But how I want to ask this from the children's standpoint, because I still to this day I deal with all of the kids that I had in school. They love me. I love them. I have two beautiful daughters and now a granddaughter. Yay! And
Yay.
I know my kids used to get a little upset at me because I play the role of father for some of these other fatherless kids that I had in school.
Yep.
And I know it affected them in a little bit until they understood, okay, daddy just being daddy and he really loves these kids and he helping them, and they began to help as well. So
Right.
how did your children feel when they saw, okay, he's with another guy that's saying father, but that's not us?
So unfortunately, I was unable to find them proper counseling because they looked upon this as an opportunity to become famous for counseling the children of the DC sniper, right?
Right.
So I had to go to the library, get a book on counseling, and learn how to counsel me and my children myself. So they were jealous. Mom, why are you saying that's his son? That's not his son. I said, okay, let's look at it from this perspective. Okay. All right. You know that's not his son, right? Right. You know you're his son. You know you're his daughters. So let's break that down and figure out why you're jealous. So once we broke it down, it's he's spending more time with him than he is with us. So if you was in that position where Lee is, then you would be in prison, right? Right. Okay. So you still want to be with your dad? No, ma'am.
Wow. Wow.
See, we gotta break down these
Yeah.
emotions,
Right.
right?
Right.
Okay, I
Absolutely.
understand you're jealous, but why are you jealous? And what can we get out of this? You're angry because your dad is spending more time with him than he is with you, but you don't want to be in that situation. But you know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth is, he is not his son. Regardless of what they say on TV, regardless of what anybody else say, you know he's your dad, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I did not then, nor do I now, speak badly to my children about their dad. Because you and I can call him whatever you want to call him, but they call him daddy. And
Right.
I will not say anything that will disrespect him in front of them. They're old enough to know now what was happening. They even knew then what was happening.
Right.
So I'm not doing that. Even the media, don't you think he was a monster? He was this. I say, you can call him a monster. I can't do that.
Right. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So the question I have for you, when did you find out that these killings and the sniping was going on? And did you have any prior knowledge of that?
So first of all, what was the profile? Two Caucasians in a white box truck. That's what everybody was looking for.
Of course.
So, but y'all were looking for two Caucasians in a white box truck. I was looking for that and John. You were looking for two people. I was looking for three.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
I was looking for three people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm doing everything everybody else is doing. Stay safe. Don't go outside. Make sure your children inside.
Most
And
definitely.
before I go outside the door, I run to the back door, look at the rooftops. I'm looking for John.
Right.
Look at the rooftop. He's an expert shot. He was a sniper.
Right.
Okay. And then I go to the front door, look at the rooftops, because I'm working at Southern Maryland Hospital down the street. So, okay. I didn't make friends at the hospital. I didn't want nobody to be my friend. I didn't want to be responsible if somebody was killed because of me. So I kept people at bay.
Right.
Right. So October 11th, my coworker picked me up for work. She says, there's a dark colored car outside your cul-de-sac, and I get a bad feeling. from that car. I said, girl, don't worry about it. Let's just go to work. So we passed by the car. The driver looks at us. The passenger has a newspaper. I said, did you see that? She said, yes. I said, give me your phone. I didn't have a cell phone. Give me your phone. Call the police. I said, it's a dark colored Caprice Impala because I was an auto repair service. So I know the kind of
Right,
car.
you know the car.
I know the car.
All this ties into it. Wow.
Caprice Impala, dark blue, New Jersey plates, sitting outside our cul-de-sac. They said, okay, we'll get somebody over there to look at it. So October 23rd, ATF, FBI knock on my door. And they said, when was the last time you seen John Allen Muhammad? My hand started, so I said, well, why are you asking me about John? Why are you asking me about John? He said, well, we just want to know when was the last time you seen him. I said, September 5th, 2001, at an emergency custody hearing in Tacoma, Washington. So, well, have you heard about any shootings in Nevada? I said, nope. We need for you to come down to the police station. I said, I ain't going nowhere with y'all. I told y'all this man trying to kill me, and y'all don't want to listen. Said Miss, and I believe you have him at the police station, and you want me to identify him. Said Miss Muhammad, I promise we do not have him at the police station. We just need for you to come down to the police station to answer some questions. I said, okay. I tell my children I'm going to the police station with the police officer. I'll be right back. Go to the police station. So there's a part that we left out. When I moved here from Tacoma, Washington, I called the FBI because he took our children, emptied the bank accounts, left me penniless. I passed out from stress, had to go to the hospital. And so my sister here in Maryland came and got my mom, and I had to move into a shelter. From the shelter, I came here. So they said, how do you know your children are no longer in the country? I said, my cousin is a private investigator. I called him and said, my children are gone and I need you to find them. He said, when the trail runs cold, that means the people you're looking for are no longer in the country. He said, all right, Miss Muhammad, what paperwork you got? I gave him my divorce decree. I gave him a writ of habeas corpus, which meant anywhere they found my children needed to bring them back and give them back to me. I gave him pictures of all three and John. He took all of my paperwork. He said, okay, we'll be in touch. 2 weeks later, I get all that paperwork back and with a note. I'm sorry, it's nothing we can do. But since this is an ongoing case, we're going to refer you back to Seattle. You need to call the FBI agency there. I did that. I explained to them, hey, I'm running for my life. I'm in hiding. He kidnapped the children. They're out of the country. And that is a federal offense because I have a restraining order. He's not supposed to take them out of the country. And so, Miss Muhammad, since we know he's looking for you, what we want to do is we want to put you in the middle of a parking lot and use you as a decoy. I said, what? We want to use you as a decoy. This way we can lure him out. I said, excuse me. It's going to be a headshot. You're not going to know which way the bullet is coming from. They said, well, we're just trying to help you out. Click. August the 30th, I get a call from the shelter I was living in. And she said, Millie, I think we found your children. You need to send all of your paperwork to Detective McCarthy. Did that. August the 31st, 4:35 p.m. They called me and said, Miss Muhammad, we got your children. Oh, I was happy, jumping up and down. They said, but you got to fly back to Tacoma for emergency custody hearing. I fly back. He tries to attack me in the courtroom. Judge gave me full custody of the children. We go downstairs to tell the police, the substation in the courthouse, hey, can we go out your back door because he just tried to attack me in court. They say, no, you got to go out the front door just like everybody else.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So we walking in a triangle, everybody have each other back, walking out the door. We go pick up my children from social services. My son is tall and skinny now because he took them when they were 6, 7, and 9. They were gone for 18 months.
Man.
People knew where they were and did not tell me. They would come over and check on me and go back and tell John what I was doing.
Jesus.
18 months.
For
I
18 months?
cannot tell you the pain that I felt. There are no words to articulate that. I mean, none at all. I was in that shelter and I said, Lord, I have to give my children to you. I have to release them to you, because if I don't, I'm going to die in this shelter. And I need to take care of me so that when the judge sees me, then he will give me custody of my children. So I had to release my children out of my spirit into God's so that I could repair myself to receive them once I did. And so once the judge gave me custody of the children, we went and got them, got on the plane that night, landed at BWI. September 5th, 2001. Fast forward to the shootings. You know, they told us to look for 2 Caucasians in a white box truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we know how that ended. And I had my children at the time. So the theory was he was killing innocent people to cover up my murder so he could come in as the grieving father and get custody of the children. And the $100,000 they were given to the victims of the sniper. Y'all would have gave him Father of the Year. I would have been dead and nobody would.
Oh, the chilling thing about this interview, the chilling thing about hearing that is knowing that this happened and we watched it on TV, but we did not know the details that you're saying because they won't put that in there.
Well, they wanted you to believe it was 2 Black men in a Chevy embezzling the United States government for $10 million to be placed on a stolen credit card. That you would believe. But you would not believe that a man traveled cross country to kill his ex-wife to gain custody of his children. Wouldn't believe that. A Black man at that.
A Black man at that, because there were comedians. Of course, there were comedians.
I know, I saw them all.
You saw it all. I mean, we would never have guessed that this was a Black man doing this. We only knew that white men, no offense, but it's the truth.
Yep.
Only white men would
But
do
that
stuff like this. Serial killing.
The profiler said that this is a white man. That's why it was 2 Caucasians in a white box truck. Threw everybody off. They even changed the way they profile serial killers now because of John.
Because of John. Wow.
Because of John.
And the moment that we learned that it was 2 brothers, 2 melanin men that look
tell
like
me how you accepted that, or what happened with you when you saw that.
When I saw that, I was disappointed. I was very disappointed because here I am now. Mind you, we was in school. Now 2000, this happened in 2002. I was in the 11th grade.
Okay.
Right. So of course we're learning about this in school, and of course getting out. Now my father was a pastor. And not hearing on the news that he's going to different states, right?
Right.
He's going to different states. So we were literally afraid to go outside in Florida.
Right.
Maybe he came to Florida, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But we was afraid to go outside. You know, my mom was watching the news and we was watching like this thing is real because every day we heard about a new killing. And I think it was 17 killings. Yeah, total. 17 killings and everything, and others got injured and all. It's like, dude, my father was the head cook at the hospital, chef and all like that. And hey, Dad, I think you might need to call in, brother. You might want to call in because I want to see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, fear for him. So it's like, wow, I remember this. So I was very disappointed to learn that it was a Black man that did this. You know, we hit an all-time low now.
Yes. The way that they caught him is his best friend in Tacoma, Washington, called the FBI in the middle of the shootings, told them that he didn't know anything about their case, but they may want to look at John Allen Muhammad because his ex-wife is in the area.
Wow.
And he may be there to hurt her. That's when the investigation changed. And so once they caught him, I called him. I say, look, Robert, I'm just calling to thank you for saving my life. He said, let me tell you this. Okay. I said, okay. He said, John is my boy. I love him. But I also know that he came there to kill you. They were army buddies. So he came there to kill you. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care how they say it. He came there to kill you. And the reason why I called the FBI is because I did not want to see your name scrolling at the bottom of the TV screen, knowing that your children would not have you or him. That's why I called. But don't get it twisted. He came there to kill you. You remember that? I said, I will. And again, thank you for saving my life. Because had he not called, they wouldn't have known. They would not have known. And then I had an FBI agent at a book signing. He came up to me and said, Mr. See, who asking? Because I don't just say, yeah, it's me. No, who are you? Because the community blamed me. They said, if you would have stayed with him, he just would have killed you. If you would have stayed on the West Coast and the people on the East Coast would still be alive. How dare you call you and your children victims when none of you were hurt or killed? And how dare you bring this drama into this quiet community? So it was all my fault. It was all my fault. And so he said, they had a security detail on you. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, we put a microphone outside your home. We were listening to the communication, the conversations, to see if you were a part of that. He said, once we found out you wasn't a part of it and you had no knowledge of it, we pulled your security. I said, wait a minute. You knew he was coming for me? Yes, we knew that. And you pulled my security. He said, yeah. I said, why did you do that? I said, somebody else needed it more than you. I said, okay, so let's say he killed me, right? He said, right. I said, what would that have been? He said, that would have been a oops. Oops.
Okay. All right. Wow. That is amazing. So they had you secured. They had security at your home.
And I didn't know that. I didn't know they had security.
Listen to your conversation, right?
Right.
To find out you had no knowledge. You didn't know
no
anything
knowledge.
About it,
none of it.
That protection away from you.
Right.
So just to think, that's why we say
they set me up.
Right. We thank God for danger seen and unseen, because sometimes you just don't know. So you could have been off and had no knowledge of anything. And you didn't have knowledge of anything.
I did not.
Hey,
well, here's another one for you.
Guys, y'all ain't open up your minds and just listen to this lady, because this really happened. This is the government that we're dealing with right here. This is legit.
Yep. I testified for Lee because my children and Lee were best friends. And they say, Mom, Lee sounds just like Dad. And if it wasn't for Dad, he wouldn't be there.
Pause. How did they become best friends with Lee?
Because when he took them to Antigua. And he befriended Lee's mother. And Lee's mother was looking for jobs on other islands and left Lee with John. Lee became a part of that family. So he was the big brother.
Right.
Over our children.
So technically, Lee really didn't want to have nothing to do with it. He just found himself in a situation where
he wanted a father figure, and John fitted.
So I'm gonna do whatever.
Loving,
I'm gonna do whatever
caring
I gotta do
to his
make
children.
Sure Daddy's happy.
Yep. So they told me at the trial, they said, Miss Muhammad, do you recognize this young man? I said, no, sir. He said, oh, they found you. See, John sent Lee to your door pretending to be a salesperson. And his instructions were, when you open the door, to shoot you in the face. Miss Muhammad, you opened the door. And he walked away. We don't know the repercussions he suffered because he didn't kill you that day. I say, but God, because obviously I had something else to do.
Glory to God. Ooh, that's a praise word right there. Yikes.
Obviously, I had more work to do.
You had you had the ultimate security. What
Yes,
they
I
didn't
did.
provide for
Yes,
you, you had
yes,
God on your
I
side. Look, you had
did.
Jesus right there.
I said,
My God.
thank you,
Wow.
Lord, for sparing my life because I
He
am
was
so
at your
grateful.
door to shoot you in the
And
face
gave me back my children.
and gave you back after
And
18
gave me
months.
after 18 months.
So how is your relationship now with your kids? Well, not
Oh, it's
necessarily
great.
now, but at that time when they
At that
came back.
time,
Yeah.
whoo, me and my son, that boy hated me. Hate with the capital HATE, hate. I took him away from his dad. That's all he knew. You took me away from my dad. Okay. I took it. I didn't argue back with him. I'm not doing that. I'm not. So I tell him to put the trash out. He come in my face, just tell me what to do. I say, boy, if you don't get out my face, do you know I'm from Louisiana? Do you understand? Do you understand where I'm from? Oh my
Ooh.
God. I said, okay.
Ooh.
I say, Lord, you're gonna have to help me with this one because they're missing their dad. I gotta accept that, respect that, and find a way to help them. So I set my son down. I was journaling and he came up to me. He said, Mom, you want to know what dad said about you? Yeah, I do. Okay. He said, well, dad said you didn't want me. Listen to what I'm saying. Dad said you didn't want me. He said you love the girls more than me. He said you wanted to live the rest of your life without me and the girls. Me. He was attacking the relationship between me and my son because he was jealous of it. So he was pulling him away. He worked on him more so than he worked on the girls. So I said, okay, is there anything else your dad said? He said, well, there is a lot, but I don't want to tell you. I said, I'm a big girl. I can take it. I said, no, Mom. I said, okay. I said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to compare what your dad said to what I do. If you find I'm doing something that he said I do, talk to me about it so you can understand why I do that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see something that I'm not doing that your dad said I was doing anyway, then talk to me. I said, what can I do to make your life better? I said, well, can you just spend more time with me? Absolutely. I can do that. I said, I'm going to go one step further. You're going to have your own special day away from the girls. It's just me and you. Whatever you want to do is me and you. And I told the girls that too. So each one of them picked their own day. And on that day, they knew that that's what we were going to do. But every Friday, it was pizza and a movie night because I needed to bring them back to me and we get to learn each other all over again. And so we all love sports, football. Pick a team. Pick a team. We're gonna this how we're gonna rival. Pick a team. So my son is the Colts. My oldest daughter is the Broncos. Broncos and Green Bay. Those are her teams.
Geesh. Wow, nice.
And
Now,
my baby girl, she was the Browns, but she changed it to the Bengals.
Lord have mercy.
I was a Steeler until recently. I can't even tell you what. You know what happened with that, right?
Yeah.
I am no longer a Steeler. I'm done. I've got to find me another team. I
Well,
was New Orleans because I was living in Baton Rouge. I'm done with them too.
wow.
I'm on a hunt for a team right now.
You know, the Cowboys gotta no.
I'm not doing the Cowboys
You
team.
know what I'm
And I'm not doing the Commanders. I know who I don't want.
Well, forget you then. Okay, forget you. Cowboys won
The
more than all of
Eagles,
them.
with Jalen Hurt, they looking really good right now. So I
Oh
don't
no,
know.
that was last year. That was last year. Look
They're
at
gonna look good this year too.
last year. Look,
They
look at
still
you.
together.
So you to pick your team. Okay.
So I
Okay.
needed to find something that would bring camaraderie with us. So we always went to the movies. That's one thing my son told me the other day. He said, Mom, you know, the one thing that I brought that I really enjoyed was going to the movies every week. And we went to the movies every week. And we just so happened to go see Barbershop. We in Barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Eve says, you know about that DC sniper, right? I was like, they didn't say that on the advertisement, right?
Of course
You
not.
heard about that DC sniper? He just put black people behind another 100 years. I look over at my children. Oh, you heard what they said about Dad? I said, yes, I did.
Wow.
Yes, I did.
Wow.
I did. I heard that.
And a lot
But we
of
went outside.
Oh.
Went outside. My son, Mom, you heard what they said? I said, yeah, I heard what they said. Well, what we gonna do? Nothing.
Call Ice Cube
Solution
immediately.
based solution.
Nothing. But what do you mean? I said, okay. Whatever anybody has to say about your dad, we are not going to defend that. Your dad made a conscious decision, free of drugs and alcohol, because you know he didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
He made a conscious decision to sit down and create a plan to create a diversion because he was in the military. He brought his military career into a civilian sector. And this is just, I don't sugarcoat with my children, but I do use age appropriate language at the time.
Right.
So he brought his military career into a civilian sector, and he purposely, consciously killed innocent people to cover up my murder. Y'all know that. I'm not going to defend that. So whatever anybody has to say about your dad, that's what it is. If it's negative, that's what it is. If it's positive, that's what it is. We have to be about the business of being an asset, not a deficit. So anything else you want to ask? No, ma'am. Wow. Okay, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, there was so much more, but I know I can't. There's so much. I might have to do a part 2, but
that's fine. We could do a part 2. But you know, it's important that people understand that when other people you know are in an abusive relationship, because nowadays it's everywhere. It's no way that you cannot be. And it's so dangerous now to be in a relationship. For women, it is dangerous. Yeah. You don't know who's who.
Yeah, social media covers up a lot. A lot of things on social media.
Dead. And the one thing that I say, if you are a victim of domestic abuse, document. Date and time of the incident. Write it when it's fresh. Don't put it in your phone. Don't put it anywhere that the abuser can find it. It doesn't matter the gender. It doesn't, because right now they are changing the laws to rescue the abuser.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
They're doing it's just crazy.
For those who voted for the orange man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep.
But I do want to ask you this though.
Absolutely.
You are very well known for doing this now, and like I said before in the beginning, it takes courage. It takes a lot of faith, because a lot of people wouldn't do this. What made you reach out to the victims? But let me go through the stats right quick.
Reach out to what victims? Who are you talking about?
The victims of the killing issue.
I saw Conrad Johnson's wife in a store, and she came up to me because I had no idea who she was. And she said, I'm Conrad Johnson's wife. I just want to give you a hug. Can I hug you? I said, oh, okay. Okay. She said, we don't blame you. We're glad you got out, and we're glad you're safe. She said, are you going to the execution? I said, no, ma'am, I won't be going. She said she wasn't sure if she was going to go at that time. I met Mr. LaRuff, who had the restaurant, where they shot him, took his laptop and $6,000. He was right down the street from me. That's why law enforcement said that I was the target, because he shot a man six times, took $3,000 in his laptop. He was a mile from me. He shot another man at Brandywine that was a couple of miles from me. Mrs. Muhammad, you were the target. How would I know that? Right. And so lost my train of thought. What was I saying? I'm sorry.
No, you were saying that, you stay on this side of the fence with the.
Right. So I don't do that. So no, I don't check on them. They don't check on me. We stay in our respectable places. But there have been people that have tried to insert me over there, and I tell them, no, I'm not going over there. That's not my place.
Right. Because first of all, you had no knowledge of what's going on in the
That had nothing to do with me. That's John's story. That's not my story.
Right.
My story is over here, and I stick with that, and I don't put them over here. That would be disrespectful. I don't do that.
The execution of John Allen Muhammad has been carried out under the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Shortly after DC sniper John Allen Muhammad was pronounced dead, Greensville Correctional Center spokesman Larry Traylor told reporters there were no complications and Muhammad made no final statement.
Death was pronounced at 9:11 p.m.
Muhammad died by lethal injection more than 7 years after a series of shootings that terrorized the Washington, D.C. area for 3 weeks. Muhammad never testified during trial or explained the string of attacks.
After he was placed on the gurney and strapped down, he was very emotionless. He watched a bit of the procedure that was being done on him. But after that was completed and the curtains were opened back up, he had his head tilted slightly to the right and his eyes were closed, and that's the way he remained.
Muhammad's attorney.
How did you and the kids feel when he was executed?
Well, that's 4 different emotions there. So for me, I severed my emotional tie to him when he said, "You have become my enemy, and as my enemy, I will kill you." So when a victim is emotionally tied to their abuser, they are more concerned with the responses of the abuser instead of trying to figure out what they need to do. And so I severed that tie so that I could move the way I needed to move and stay 2 steps ahead of him. So when the execution, when the gentleman came to the podium and said that he had expired, my children went in 3 different directions. So my son went and sat in the dark. My oldest daughter, Selena, she just was whimpering on the sofa. And my baby girl, she just hit the floor and started screaming. So I went to my son first and I said, honey, you okay? He said, I'm good, Mom. I'm good. So, okay. You need anything? No, ma'am. I'm good. Okay. So I go to my baby girl. She's on the floor crying. Pick her up. You know how you hold a baby like this, right? Pick her up. And she's looking at me in my eyes and she's screaming. And I know what she's looking for. And she's looking for some type of emotion that I am having because her dad was just executed. I had nothing. That's your dad. That's my ex-husband. 2 different types of emotions, right?
I love how you keep it real, though. I love how you
I do, because and so she stopped crying just like that. I say, honey, you okay? I'm good, Mom. I'm good. Oh, okay. So she got up. She went sat on the sofa. So I go to my daughter, Selena. And I say, honey, are you okay? No, Mom, I'm not okay. Oh, okay. You want to tell me how you feel? Did you know Dad don't love you? Yes, honey, I know that. You know Dad came here to kill you, right? Yes, ma'am, I know that. Say, however, Selena, that's your dad, and you love him. Don't tell me I love him. I don't love him.
Wow.
Okay, honey. But you know what I need for you to do? What, Mom? I need for you to cry. Because as angry as you are, you love your dad. And she started crying. They all cried themselves to sleep. My baby girl is the spokesperson to this day for all three of them. So they come in the room the next day and they said, Mom, can we go to the funeral?
Wow.
Y'all really need to go to the funeral? Yeah, Mom, we need closure. I said, y'all got that closure stuff from me, but do y'all really need to go? Yes, ma'am, we really need to go.
Right. Like you said, that's still their dad.
That's still their dad, yeah. And I took them. I took them to the funeral. I stayed outside and they went in to be with his family. And when we came back, it's like a weight had lifted off of their shoulders. And so we started our life. That was it.
Last but not least, about you.
My son is married. He and Selena, they're married. And my baby girl, she's not. So we're all just moving right along.
So what about you? How did you bounce back from all of this? You took to describe what you've been through, you took some of the worst Mike Tyson punches from
and that
life.
Hit hard.
And I mean that YN.
That man hits hard.
Really hard. So you took that and you're still here able to talk about it and not have, trauma on camera. You're able to talk about it.
And off camera.
Yeah, off camera. And you're able to help people, right? So Correct. How did you bounce back?
I looked at every emotion that I was experiencing, look it up in a dictionary, found the one that resonated with my spirit and dealt with it. And I found out that all of the emotions that I was experiencing were emotions that he transferred to me and I accepted as my own. And so once I weeded through all the grass and turned over every stone and peeped through all the sand pebbles, I found me. And that's how I came, but not, I also looked at, from the time I was in the shelter all the way up to now, I found somebody in scripture that was going through what I went through. So Jacob was missing a son. And the sons knew where he was and daddy didn't. Remember I told you the people around me knew where yes. Right? Yes. They knew where he was. Even lied to him and said he was dead and he wasn't. Right? Then we got Hagar. Abraham put her out. She running to and fro between the mountains trying to find help for that 17-year-old boy she was holding. They say he was a baby, but he wasn't. He was 17 years old. She running to and fro between the mountains. We know the mountains mean authority. So she couldn't even get help. I was going through that too. It wasn't until she put Ishmael down, when she laid down her burden.
Come on, evangelist.
The river of Zamzam opened at his feet, which meant resources. So it wasn't until I gave my children back to God that the resources started to come from me. So they don't like it when you use your faith to come through trials. They want to know that you was drugs and alcohol and promiscuous and having babies all over the place. And, that's their comeback story. But God's comeback story is my faith, my prayer, my life and my death belongs to Allah. When I saw Jacob in the Quran, it says that Jacob cried out to God for help. His son said, and this is how I tell when they were little, how I would tell them about the prophets. I said, Jacob's son said, Dad, why you always crying about that boy over there? You got us. What's the problem? You always sitting there crying and everything. And Jacob said, I complain only to Allah. I complain only to God because only God knows what I'm going through. And at that moment, I stopped telling everybody what was happening. That's why they didn't take me seriously. because I was too calm. I wasn't falling all over the place, crying and whining. Oh my God, what am I? I didn't do none of that. God already told me I was going to get my children back. I just didn't know when. But I needed to be prepared when they did come back so I could help them in their process of what they were going through. And that's what I did.
Wow.
So I relied on my faith, period. I fasted, I prayed, I gave my children back to God. I asked him to put people and resources in place to help me and to put a word in their mouth so that I would know that he sent them. Because, Satan knows scripture.
Yeah, he does. Yes.
But the word that they said was already given to me in my prayer.
Wow, he was with you the whole time.
The whole time. In the Quran say God is as close to you as your jugular vein. You know where your jugular vein is? Right there. That means you're never alone. Ever. He's always there. All you got to do is call. That's it. And that's what I did. I called out. I said, Lord, I said, I don't know what you're doing. I know this is bigger than me, John, and our children. All I ask is you give me the strength and the courage to prevail and to bring my children back to me in sound mind, spirit, and body. That's all I ask.
And that reminds me of my favorite scripture in the Bible. Whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Romans 13.
Yep. My mother, this was her favorite scripture. When Joshua was had to lead the children of Israel. And she would say, God said, haven't I commanded you to be of good courage, of a good spirit and good courage? She said, he didn't say, did I ask you? He didn't say, did I tell you? He said, didn't I command you? That's an instruction. That's an order. You have no choice. You have to do what I told you to do. No questions asked. So haven't I commanded you to be good and of a good, strong and of a good courage? He commanded me to be strong, commanded me to be of a good courage, to keep a good heart, and he will give everything back to me tenfold. I got an honorary doctorate degree. Never thought in a million years I'd get that. Got my children back. We're doing good as a family unit.
Yes, ma'am.
We have October the 16th is our atonement day. So what do? We get on the phone, and for everything that happened, so this is 2025. So everything that happened from January to October, we talk about it. We leave our emotions at the door. Leave the egos at the door. This is what you did to me. This is how I felt, and this is what I need from you. You don't have a rebuttal. You cannot, we don't go back and forth. You know you did it. So what are we going to do about it? And we have done that, and that's how we've been able to continue to communicate with each other without feeling rejected or judged, because we talk about all this, but here's the kicker. Once you talk about it here, you can't bring it up no more. So whatever you got to say it right here. It may take you 3 hours, but we're going to get it out.
Yeah.
This is what it is right here. This day is for this. Everything is canceled, no appointments, no work, we are here. Let's do this. And when we leave out of this, we hug, I love you. And the next day is a brand new day. We do not bring up past events. Even if it's something that feels the same way, you can't bring that over here. You got to deal with this right here. That's what we do.
Wow. Ms. Muhammad, I am beyond full from this interview. And I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Man, no, thank you for being on this. Man, I'm full. I got a lot out of this. And I'm looking for a story. I got that, but I got so much more than just that. I believe everybody's gonna be blessed by this. I really do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No doubt.
So if you need a part 2, let's do that because
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I have some other questions you want to ask, and we didn't get a chance to do it this time, so I don't have a problem.
Yes, of course. Yes, no doubt. I really appreciate you, and God continue to bless you on your journey.
Thank you.
Everything you put your hands on, for sure, it's going to be blessed.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
No
you.
doubt.
My contact information.
Contact. Yes.
My website is mildredmuhammad.com. You can reach me on there if you need life coaching services or consultation. Is myfocusllc.com. One of the two. We set up a free 30-minute breakthrough session to find out if working with me will give you is it a good fit. But I can promise you this, and I can promise you this because I have testimonials for that. You may walk in with a problem, but you're going to walk out with a solution. Straight up.
Absolutely.
I do not believe in leaving people. I don't like to use the word broken. I like to use the word cracked open, because when you crack something or break it open, I use cracked. Then whatever is inside comes out. So when you're cracked, the spirit that God has is trying to get out to make you a better person. So let's deal with what that is, to insert that back into who you are so that you can be that person that God intended you to be.
I will be calling. Oh man. And make sure you guys utilize those services, please, and make sure we support Black-owned businesses. Amen, somebody.
And if you need a speaker, I do that too.
Oh yeah.
Global keynote speaker.
Yep. Hey girl, hey, Tia Crockett, break it down. All right, guys, listen, this has been another episode of Unmuted. This has been a phenomenal interview, so make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. And let's give it up one more time for Miss Mildred Muhammad.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to say her government name, Mildred D. Muhammad.
Dr. Mildred
Doctor, yes, sir. Yeah, so I really appreciate you for doing this. So
thank you.
Yes, so that's how we do it, man. This is another episode of Unmuted, and I want to say peace out and thank y'all. All right. We would like to take a moment to honor and recognize those who lost their lives in this heinous crime. We remember you, we miss you, and we love you. Respect.
What up? It's your main man, actor, producer, Troy D. Williams.
Hey, it's Cherry Johnson.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Scott White.
We are the Herd.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Natasha.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is B Slade.
And you are now tuned in to Unmuted.
You are watching Unmuted.
To Unmuted.
To Unmuted.
And you're watching Unmuted.
You're watching Unmuted. Keep it locked.
Unmute yourself and speak your truth.